I know that the IRL community, the outdoor IRL community, has been telling everybody to buy M1s for, God, 5, 6, 7 years. Don't get an M1 in America, okay? And I'm going to tell you why, but the short answer is the M1 is the first generation. It does not cover all the bands. I'm going to show you all this. The M5 covers all the bands and all of the additional bands that are planned for the United States, including band 77, which is a 5G band, which everybody's heavily investing in. And the M1 doesn't have a prayer for all that. Well, Mr. Rob, why are we even doing um, the 5G? Right? Should we even do the 5G? Well, the future of the United States network, wireless network, modem, hotspots, and all that is going to be 5G. So as long as you have two modems and you're not really, really pushing them so that they're flipping back and forth between 5 and 4, you're good. You're usually good, especially if you have a booster like the WeBoost Drive Reach Outback or whatever it's called, that the one that I tested yesterday. So you really are only going to need two modems. And actually, I'm running three modems right now, but I'm about to do a test. So this all boils down to, can I use? I mean, you can do this search on the internet. I'm not. I'm going to save you the time. I've already done this search a million times. I've read it. You can do your own search, and I'm going to tell you the search terms. So the first one is, can I use an M1 with Verizon? And you're going to get a hit, and it's going to show you Reddit, and there's going to be a thread on Reddit, and the thread on Reddit is going to say, yes, you can, but it's hit or miss because the M1 does not support band 13. And if you go, and I'll get into the details later, I'll show you all this. I'm just going to summarize for those of you who just want to get to the point, okay? So number two, so I checked the M5, and the M5, sure enough, it covers band 13. So I don't know why Verizon needs band 13, but it does, okay? And you're like, but Mr. Rob, Verizon says they don't support the Nighthawk and they don't sell it. They only sell the Encigo, which is the one I bought and I'm still paying on. This is true. You cannot get a SIM card for an unlocked modem on Verizon unless you buy a data device from Verizon. Okay, so we're going to talk about that later too. But the short of that is you need to buy a Verizon device. It can be the cheapest device that they have. You don't need. It has to be able to take micro USB though. Or now, sorry, nano, not micro. It has to take nano, the nano chip, whatever it is. The little SIM card, the nano SIM card, and you take the SIM card out of that. This is according to the Nighthawk M5's own documentation site, and I'm summarizing for you so you don't have to go look at it. But the documentation site on the on Netgear's site, it said yes, it will run in Verizon. You get a device. It says step one, and it's very broken down. It says you take the thing out and you put it into your unlocked Nighthawk M5. I read another review that talked about why the M5 is the best modem to get in the United States, and hands down, I mean, over the last 4 years, by far the best device with the best antenna, the most signal power of any modems that I've tried. And I could list them all. I've tried probably at this point 7 or 8 different types of modems, including the rabbit ear modems, which are absolute garbage. All of the Encigo modems sold from Verizon, also garbage. Better garbage, but it's garbage. Compared to the M1, they don't hold a candle to it. And we're talking about unboosted, unantennaed, raw power. The Nighthawk M1 it has been the standard, but the M5, which is about $200 more. So I think it's something like $500, $525 or something like that. So, you can get the M1 because it's ancient. By the way, if you get an M1, be sure you don't get an AT&T locked M1 for like $150. It's been refurbished unless you're going to use AT&T. And why would you do that anyway? You're going to save maybe a couple $100 so that you can buy an old device that's not going to be compatible with the new network upgrades that they are aggressively making right now for 5G, and it doesn't cover the bands of Verizon, so you can't even switch if you wanted to. Why would you waste your money? I think it's wasted money. I mean, if you are that skimping, I mean, just wait a little bit longer, save a little bit more money, and get an M5. And now the M5 is going to work everywhere, right? And so so that's really the way everything is going. It also has Wi-Fi 6, which, if you care, more of the new devices are supporting that now. So I don't know how many people have even joined in the chat. I haven't even looked, I haven't watched the chat. So I wanted to get all of that out really quickly at the beginning of the video. So if you don't watch any more of this video, I'm going to actually break all this down. I'm going to show you over the next 10, 20 minutes how I came to all these conclusions, so you can make your own decision. But if you just want to know what I'm trying to tell you, save your money, buy an M5, make that your primary modem. It's got Ethernet connectivity. You can connect it straight to the Bella box. Run it with the battery. I don't care what they tell you in outdoor IRL. Somebody's going to yell at me for saying this. Use the modems and the Nighthawks and stuff like that as God's intended. If you don't do that, and I have done this, right? If you decide to like USB that thing, now that's fine. You can do that too if you want to, but you don't actually need to do that. You can use the battery in the modem, which lasts for 10 hours. And if you actually Ethernet it, or if you Ethernet it, or you Wi-Fi dongle it, which I prefer to do, because the Wi-Fi dongles, when I can turn off my modem and I can actually use the Wi-Fi from the restaurant or the house or somebody else's or whatever, I can switch it over, and the Wi-Fi interference is not usually an issue for me because I'm not usually in crowded areas where there's lots of Wi-Fi competition. If there is, I just plug my Ethernet in. Okay, so that's how I do it. And I'm actually doing a whole diagram of all this stuff and my new conclusions. I'm really, really excited because I just bought a DJI Action 4, which uses USB as a webcam with stabilization. And I got to thank Peloton for doing that video a month ago. And based on that, I bought that. And rather than, I've been doing my rig over here, that is going to allow me to drop the Elgato cam card, which means I'm going to be able to drop a full battery because I'm not going to need all the extra power. And I just got another M1. So I'm sorry, another M5. So I'll be running two M5s, dropping one of my Verizon modems, which is going to reduce the amount of money that I'm paying per month. And if it works out, I'm actually going to drop AT&T and swap my Nano card from my other Inseego Verizon account over to that, and then I'll have two unlimited accounts for the Verizon, which are, I don't know. I probably won't do that because then they'll just be both. I mean, it would be cheaper to do that, but having the one AT&T account, which I probably will switch over to prepaid as opposed to getting dinged for overage charges on AT&T, which I've had to happen a lot of time. This is a lot of information. I'm just rambling at this point, so I'm going to kind of bring it back to where we need to be. Okay, so if you're going to get a modem and you're trying to decide on which modem to get, buy the M5, save your money for the M5, and you can stream like that. You can, you do the Bella box, if you want to do the Orange Pi, fine, but you don't need to. This is what I recommend currently, and I'm going to be confirming this recommendation over the next month. Okay, so if you want to wait till I've actually tried it and you want to watch the videos and be trying it out, fine. But this is my current recommendation based on all the available information at the moment. The Sony AS300, I strongly believe, and I'm going to prove it, but I strongly believe that its time has come. It's over now. The DJI Action 4 has stabilization as a UBC USB webcam, which means no capture card, which means no real need for the Orange Pi, because the Orange Pi is doing all the encoding on the board, but you don't need to do any of that because that's all being taken care of for you now. It's also powered by the USB, so it's getting powered by the Bella box, which is getting its power from that one USB-C connector. And then as long as you're not running if you got modems that are running under their own power and you're not using those stupid rabbit ear modems, do not use those things. Their power fluctuation is too high. Even on a powered hub, I've fried hubs before trying to do this because these things, they fluctuate so high in America. A lot of people use those, and you particularly European and Japanese people, but I'm telling you, do not use the rabbit ear modems in America. Use the M5. It's got the best thing. It's also going to free you from having a lot of wires in your kit that are going to disconnect and fray and all of that stuff. You can just have two Wi-Fi dongles and an Ethernet port if you want, and then you've got potentially, and I'll show you the rig. But that is it. There's going to be one USB connector with no Elgato capture card to freak out or to go black or any of that stuff. If this works, that will be the premier outdoor IRL rig in the United States. It'll be, and I'm just going to summarize again. It'll be a DJI Action 4, connected through USB-C to the bell box on the main USB, the normal one you'd plug in the Elgato capture card into. Okay, so, and then what? And then the 30,000 milliamp base, which Peloton has tested, into the bell box, the Jetson Nano, and then two Wi-Fi dongles plugged into the available USB ports. No reason not to do that. Those things take no power at all. And then one or two M5s. And if you use one M5, you can connect it with Ethernet if you want, which is very reliable, or you can use one of the Wi-Fi dongles, either way. If you get two of them, then you can have one of them on the Ethernet and the other one using the Wi-Fi dongle, or you can use both of them on the Wi-Fi dongle, either way. And, you know, the only reason to get the Orange Pi Pro, in my opinion, is because it's got two Ethernet ports. If you got two Ethernet ports and two M5s, you got two Ethernet connections, and then you've got, on the Pi, you've got like another four totally open, you know, Wi-Fi ports. You could put as many dongles as you wanted to, and you could piggyback as many local Wi-Fi connections as you wanted to using that if you want to use it. Plus, it comes, the Orange Pi Pro on board, you can do onboard Wi-Fi, so it doesn't even need a dongle. Right, so if the Orange Pi Pro becomes the new standard, that'll be the reason that I'd use it, because it won't need the onboard encoding, even though that's an option, right? You still have that as an option if you have an HDMI device, which you might be able, I don't know, you might be able to have two camera sources at that point, have one coming through HDMI encoding, one coming through USB. Don't know, but that would be the only reason to go with Orange Pi. But the Orange Pi is beta. It's absolute beta. It's going to be beta forever. The Bell Box 2 has been well established as being used for 6 or 7 years, if not longer. And so that's going to be where I'm going to invest my recommendations and what I'm going to be doing. So the really great thing about the battery that Peloton has been using, by the way, is you can daisy chain them. If you do the wires correctly, you can take the wires. So the thing that's so cool about that is you can have your entire rig to power from a single battery, and because the power consumption is almost zero. You have USB powering the camera. You have no capture card. The capture card is the biggest power pig of the entire rig, and it's gone now. It's gone, which means it saves you $125. You don't even have to pay that. Take that extra money and spend it on a DJI Action 4 instead of, you know, overpaying for an overpriced Sony AS300 that's been deprecated for 10 years, is not going to be able to be found anymore. And then you plug that in, and your power consumption is lower. You don't have any power hub. You don't have the external USB power hub or any of that crap, because you've got modems that are running up dongles or Ethernet, which is no power. And now what you can do is you can save the input jack for the battery. And if you're going to go on a longer trip that's going to take longer than 5 hours, we're going to determine what the range is. I got all the equipment coming this month. But when you want to determine what your range is in terms of how many hours do I have, the thing is so cool about this, and I'm going to give Peloton total credit for this. He's got a little bike bag that's got all of his gear in it. It's got all of his gear, and he decided to put his camera on this bike. I would never, ever, ever do that, because I'm too crazy with my bike. So I still wear it on a pack. In fact, lately I've been wearing it on a pack that's been, WeBoost Drive Reach powered up, so that I can go out on mountain bike trails that I could never hit before. And it's got a big antenna and everything. So that's where we are. But Peloton has his entire rig in this little thing. One battery, one modem, and then he tethers his phone. He tethers his phone, so he does USB. And now you don't even have to use USB tether for your phone if you don't want. You can actually set up, if your phone is got good enough reception, you can actually make your phone into a hotspot, as long as it's got a battery plug-in. You use the same battery, plug it into your phone, and then keep your phone charged. And then you can run the whole thing through the single battery. Now, I don't know. That would probably, I don't know. That would probably run out. That would probably go over the 15 watts or whatever that the battery is capable of putting out to all those devices. At that point, you might want to add another one. But he actually, I don't know, he probably uses his own power from his phone, but he tethers his phone. He uses one M1, even though with AT2, but I would use an M5 because then you can use Verizon if you want. And and then he has with the battery, and then he has this tiny little bellow box with no fan, and he's got a lot of ventilation on the pack, so he doesn't even have a fan. Um, the fan adds yet another thing you have to power, but they take minimal power. You could buy like a 10,000 milliamp battery, one of those little ones that I use for my lights, my light on my pack, and you could just run your fan off that power if you wanted to, if you were too afraid of it. But he jammed all that into there, and so if you can get away with that for like a 2 or 3 hour bike stream, and I don't know what his range is, but he's probably like 2, 3, 4 hours, probably I'm guessing. Um, but the thing that's really cool about it is if you're okay with putting it in a backpack or something, and you know that you're going to go 10 or 15 or 16 hours. I mean, why would you? But if you do know that, you can actually pack several of those daisy chainable bricks, 30,000 milliamp bricks. And I have done this. I tested this yesterday. You can daisy chain the bricks, and the intermediate brick will charge up to 100%, and then the one on the end will start to drain. So, and then you can have as many as you want. You can daisy chain as many of those as you want and strap them together. And so, rather than buying a big max hook, which doesn't even put out 5 volt 3 amps that are required by the bellow box, period, it doesn't. The only time you should ever power a rig with a max oak, one of those big, 60,000 milliamp, really super heavy, qualifies as a bomb, can't take it on an airplane things. It's normally recommended for the live view. That particular max oak battery cannot be used with most bellow box rigs because it doesn't put out 5 volts 3 amps. It puts out 2.41 or whatever. So you can't use that, but it's got the 12 volt out, which is needed for things like the antenna booster that I have, and that's why I have a max oak, is for that. But it's really heavy, and I'm testing another one that's only 30,000 milliamps, is way lighter, and so we're going to see if that's going to power the booster by itself. I think it will, and then I'll just keep that completely on its own power. But if you happen to have a max oak, you can go ahead and do that. But the other thing about the max oak that's nice is you can actually have it plugged in and rapid charging, from your lighter in your car or from anywhere while it's in. You got to be careful outdoor. There's been a couple streamers, I won't say who actually started a fire overnight because of their battery charging. I don't know what battery they were using, but just be careful with that. So, I mean, this video is about the M5, but I'm so excited because the changes that have come about in 2023, by the end of 2023, we are finally looking at at least 1 or 2 significant changes in outdoor IRL rig streaming that are going to make it available for the masses. That means that it's going to be very, very easy and very lightweight for you to make an outdoor IRL streaming rig. And a core component of that, if not the most important component in America, is the M5. I keep saying America because the Nighthawk, the Netgear Nighthawk, has been outlawed in Asian countries like Japan. They won't even allow it. It's not allowed anymore. They banned it. Now, I know Redemco and others in Amsterdam, other places, swear by it. In fact, Redemco, who is an IT guy, he's got one of the best rigs ever. He's been running 2 Nighthawks forever, right? And he's got the band coverage with his Nighthawk M1s to be able to do it. But in America, no, right? Because you want the M5, you want the B13. So, okay, so let's go in and kind of show what I've been saying all along. Let me just check in with the stream really quick and see if there's anybody here. Hey, everybody. Yes, I'm still dreaming about how the Dutch are expanding the road infrastructure. Yeah. Got in a bike wreck. Am I okay? It was a long time ago. How are you doing? Yeah, that's why I'm missing my teeth. Yeah, it was like 2 months ago. But I'm getting better now. You can go watch the videos, actually. It's kind of fun. So let's go back and let me give you the conclusions here. Okay, so here is, I'm sorry for the flashbang, but I can't help it. These are the LG bands. So this is definitive proof of what I was saying yesterday in a long about way. I was like, I don't trust it. I don't know. And I actually now have the proof. Okay. So Verizon, for whatever reason, runs on B13, and a number of other bands for LTE. Okay. And you see how this does not have that? It does not have B13. This is the M1. And it says works best with AT&T and T-Mobile, and the reason it works best with, it will work on the Verizon network according to users that I have read in Reddit threads. It will work, but it doesn't work as well, and the reason is because it doesn't have band 13. So when I found that out and I knew exactly what band it was, I said, okay, let's go compare the bands for the M5. Okay, so you can go look at the bands for the M5, which is the most recent one. N5 Wi-Fi with Wi-Fi 6, which is, the really cool thing. So this is actually the thing. I've been saying that I have an M1 all this time. I've had an M. I didn't realize this, but there it says purchased on September 2023. I also purchased another one of these like 2 years ago. The M6 is probably not worth getting. At one point, I did get one of those as well, but that one's like $700. I don't know. That's probably not worth it. But the people have been saying not to get the M5, and I completely disagree. I have one, and it works fantastically well. It's like my best modem. So this is what I wanted to show you. So this is the exact modem that I have. And it has, okay, so the first thing you need to notice here is it's only got one USB-C power output, okay? And this is just for power. So you can't tether this modem. And I think one of the reasons that people have recommended against this modem is it doesn't let you tether, but you don't need tethering. It's got Ethernet. Okay, so 1 gigabit Ethernet port, power USB Type-C. It's got these connectors you don't need to use. Okay, so supports any mobile data plan up to 1 gigabytes per second. Cat 22 LTE, Advantage Pro, Wi-Fi speed, whatever. They did not show. Okay, how do I know that it covers it? Because I read the specification for Netgear. And again, we're going to be doing some proof of this, but I'm trying to find my Netgear. There it is. Okay. So this is the Netgear official thing, how to use Verizon Nano SIM with a Netgear M5200 Melbourne router. It says if you previously activated your thing. So as I said, you have to buy a device that has, then you have to take the Nano SIM out of an existing device. So don't do what I did. I am making a lot of very expensive mistakes, so you don't have to make the same mistakes. I thought, oh no, Verizon has to have their own device with their own network. So I went in and took my other device and I upgraded it to the maximum one I'm going to be paying on it for another year, because I bought the Encego like 3200 or whatever, 8800. I can't remember. I'll go look it up. But the point of it is, I could have bought the cheapest possible data modem, taken the SIM card out of it, and taken that money that I would have spent on that modem and bought an unlocked M5, and then you can charge it up and you can put it in. And it says carrier's name Verizon. You just have to go change the APN to Verizon Internet, which is really basic stuff. You have to do that for AT&T anyway if you have an unlocked modem. If you buy an unlocked modem M1 or M5, same thing. You have to go set the APN. That's just a part of it. If you're going to deal with unlocked modems, I read a really great article. I don't think it's still up here. Here's the article about whether it's supported. Sorry you didn't say venue. The MR11 is an AT&T device, not Verizon. Verizon does not support it at all. It lacks band 13. Yes, it works on Verizon, usually like in band 30, but Verizon will sell you a line of service, blah, blah, blah. They will not just sell you a SIM card. Yeah, you have to buy the stupid jetpack, okay? Why not use it for it? Because whatever. So this is telling you, why don't you just use the Verizon and call it a day, or the Encego modems that they send you, or the jetpack line, which I already told you don't want to do because that modem is absolute trash compared to the M5 and the M1. In terms of like reception and stuff. We know this. I've demonstrated it over and over hours, many hours. It says 13 hours of battery life. I don't know about that. It is definitely, the battery life of the Netgear is at least double the battery life of the Encego modems that I have. Top of the line modem data, the top of the line data modem you can get for Verizon and T-Mobile, by the way, which I also have another one back there that I had to spend $260 to buy myself out of this shitty T-Mobile service that I had because I couldn't get service anywhere on that their top of the line modem, and now I have the modem sitting in my desk, wasted because I tried T-Mobile. So don't make my mistakes. Don't use T-Mobile. T-Mobile's horrible. AT&T has really great remote coverage. By the way, Um, this is not very organized, but the band 13, guess who uses it the most? Rural America. The number one usage of AT&T is rural America. So and band 13 apparently is one of the number one bands that's used in rural America. In fact, I read another thread, I can't remember where, but I read another thread about somebody that says, hey, if you live in rural America, stay away from the Nighthawk M1 if you're going to run it on Verizon because you're not going to have band 13, and band 13 is more prominent in rural America, according to that person that I read. So, and that all of that is in flux right now. I actually read another article I might be able to find for you. See if I can find it. There's another article about the future of the new towers, where all the upgrades are going and what people are doing. And I can't see it right now, but basically that was saying it. And what I wanted to show you was the Netgear. I want to show the actual Netgear specs on the router. And there's a PDF. I actually downloaded it. I think it's probably in my downloads. Where's my downloads? Where is my downloads? Downloads. Bike nonstop. Nope, that's not it. I must not have downloaded it. I must have just previewed it. We need to. I'm going to find it for you now, but it actually talks about. I mean, that's where I saw that it covered band 13. In fact, the M5 is. The article that I read, God, let me see if I can find it. There's a blog that says why the M5 is the best router to get. Period, because it's unlocked and you spend a little bit more money, and where is it? And then it says you can also turn it off temporarily and then just buy. There's some providers that actually provide just like one weekend. Like you can buy like. I haven't been able to find a provider that does this, but apparently you can just buy enough for like the weekend and put it on your SIM card and then go out over the weekend instead of buying like an entire monthly 100 gigabyte kind of thing. You can buy it per bandwidth. And you can just the whole argument to using an M5 is that the M5 has been built to be compatible with as many possible providers in the United States, both now and in the future. And it's been sold. It's been designed to be bought as a universal modem that'll work anywhere. And depending on the SIM cards, you just swap the SIM cards in and out. Blah 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 blah. So that was the priority of the design of the Netgear. It was not designed to be locked down to a particular provider like the T-Mobile router that I bought or the AT&T M1 that I bought at one point, which was locked down. And in fact, they talk all about that. It's probably in my history. I don't remember where it is. But again, if you want all this nice and clean, you're gonna have to wait for the course. I'm gonna make a course or a guide. Netgear. Let's see, where is it? Here is this the one? Okay, so this is it. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this in the show notes ish stuff. Yeah, I'm gonna paste this in. So there it is. It's not how much it costs, of course. So number of devices supported. PC Best of the Year in 2021. And our magazine's not going to go out on the limb like that. I mean, yeah, they're kind of like catering to their clientele, big advertisements. But if you read this article overwhelmingly convinced me that the M5 is definitely one to get. And I was confused yesterday. In case you watched this yesterday, I was confusing the M1 and the M5. Right, I have an M5. And I was wondering, and I wasn't expecting to see that the M5 is compatible with Verizon and the M1 is not. And I now have objective proof of that. I'm going to show you. So this goes through all the best reasons to get it. Zero total emission. Where's the hotspot mode? 5G. Where is the link? I have to find the phones. I'm trying to find. This has a link to the... Yeah, the M2000. I have that. If Flex comes at a cost, it'll do Google Fi even. It'll do T-Mobile and Google Fi. So let's say this is another reason to get the M5. If you find yourself in an area that T-Mobile's got a really great deal or something, you can always swap out your deals. If you buy a lockdown modem or an M1 that doesn't support all the bands of all the providers in the United States, you're screwed because now you're in rural America and you got band 13. But with an M5, you can do that. So let's go down here and see here. Verizon says 100 million Americans and blah 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 have access to the C band by March. Okay, so oh my God, okay, we're gonna get to the spec page, I promise you. But this is so important about the M5. The M1 it's because the C band means in the context of Nighthawk M5. Right now, AT&T and Verizon's nationwide 5G are noticeably faster than our 4G. Blah blah blah. But the change over the next few years, you can need a C band to take advantage of added capacity. If you don't have a modem that has C band capability, you can't even use 5G. Now, most outdoor real streamers will tell you to lock your thing down to 4G, and I've been experimenting with flip-flopping back between 4 and 5G, and I can tell you when you go outdoors, in the remote outback and stuff like that, you probably do want to lock it down, but when you're in the urban area, or you're in the suburbs like I am on my bike or something like that, you should probably allow your modem to do 5G and 4G because the 5G is prevalent enough to do that. And if you have at least two modems, especially if they're boosted with a booster, you're going to get the 5G. And you're going to get, out of two modems, you're going to get all the bandwidth that you would need for streaming instead of needing three. And you have to have at least two modems, in my opinion. In my opinion, either you have to have two sources, we'll say. You can tether a phone if you want, if it's really reliable, but I would prefer to get two M5s, even though it's super expensive. Because why? Because if one of them is toggling back and forth between 4 and 5G, if you want to, you can lock one of the modems down into 4G all the time, so it's really stable, and you can let the other one bounce around in 5G. Or if you are in city, you can lock them. You can allow them both to go to 5G. Or if you're going to go out in the mountains, you take along your WeBoost booster antenna, and then you also lock them down to 4G. So then you're not bouncing around between the two, and you're boosted, and you've only got two modems instead of three, which is cheaper and lighter and takes less power. So C-band is the iPhone 12 and 13 lineup. So anyway, let me see if I can find the. I just Verizon using either the Wi-Fi 6 and blah blah blah. The bands all here. So this is what I'm trying to tell you. It is the U.S. model of the M5 supports bands 2, 5, 25, 41, 66, 71, and 77. 77 is the new band that's coming out. That the AT&T. Look, here we go. As well as our upcoming C-band 5G band 77. Okay, so but it's also and then on LTE it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 7, 12, 34. If you look at that same list that we just looked at on the M1, you'll notice that it was missing a lot of bands. Okay, so I'm going to show it to you again one more time. I'm going to show you, even though it's a lot less money, it's not what you want. Look at all the bands it does not support. So here are the bands supported by the M1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 12, 14, 29, 30, and 66. And it even has some 3G bands, which there is no such thing as a 3G network in AT&T. In fact, they very infamously turned 3G off and cut off like a percentage of their customers who went crazy. They didn't even tell them they were doing it. There's no need to do 3G. It's not supported. I know that people have been saying do 3G in like Italy or some places got really remote needs, but most places don't even support 3G anymore, especially America. So you can be really lucky to even get 3G. Another reason not to get an M1, to get the M5 instead. So if we go back to, where is it? Here we go. So here, look at the numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 12, 13, 14, 25, 29, 30, 31, 41, 48, 66, and 71. 71 is a new 4G nationwide low band. Look at that. T-Mobile's nationwide low band 71 is also not supported by the M1. It's not. So you cannot use an M1 on T-Mobile. If you happen to be in an area where you need T-Mobile access because T-Mobile is like a good deal or it has better coverage in a particular area, you're screwed with an M1. With an M5, you're good. With your it has the access to the T-Mobile's nationwide low band and ultra capacity mid band 41. So I think that's plenty of case to be made to save your money. I mean, the thing that's really crazy about this is that the M1 is still $200. All right. It's like, it's $280. It's like, it's still close to $300, even though this thing is like ancient and doesn't covers all the bands. And why would you do that to yourself? I mean, what is an M5? All right. So the M5, I'm going to go find the M5 again just to do a price comparison directly. So the one's 281. This is now the M5 is not even the new hotness. The M6 is the new hotness, right? Why is the M6 so cheap here? Oh, it's the AT&T unlocked one, and it's also renewed. No wonder. Yeah, because the M6 is still pretty high. So the M6 is up there. If you want to try that, obviously it's going to be as compatible as the M5. But the M5 is now not as new, so the price is probably coming down. See all buying options. In fact, I don't even know if you can get a new one. Suspenseful music playing. Used very good. Use. Look how expensive these ones are. These used ones are completely ridiculous. Why are they so much money? Huh. Anyway, so the M5 is. I don't know about the M6. We could look at the M6. I imagine the M6 is just as good. I don't want to get a refurbished M6 though. So let's see about a brand new M6 that's unlocked. Nighthawk M6 at 5G, blah 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 blah. Hotspot. I actually owned one of these once upon a time. I had to buy it from Netgear directly. I paid $800 for it, and then I lost it in a rainstorm. It fell out of my pack, and very sad day. Yeah, I don't like talking about that very much. True story. I bought an M6, and I lost it. So, certified AT&T T-Mobile requires 5G. Verizon's not going to certify anything because they want you to buy their devices. That's Verizon. All right. So the only way you're going to be able to know if it works with Verizon is look at the Verizon networks and look at the bands that it's using and do the research for yourself and then prove it. Right. And that's what I did with the whole Band 13 thing. So the next way to prove this is to actually do it, which I'll be doing over the next month and a half. So I plan on taking one of my Inseego modems, taking the chip out, and putting it into my Netgear and seeing what happens. So if you want to stay tuned for that, over the next month or so, please if that's the kind of thing you want to see, you can tune in for that. Another thing too is these routers, if you got two of them, right, you can actually buy extra batteries and pre-charge them, which are seriously light. And remember, each one of these is at least 10 hours of charge, right? So what you can do if you're not, charging, you can, in fact, it's so powerful, you can actually charge devices with this if you wanted to, but I wouldn't. So if you don't want to have a battery and then switch between your batteries, charging these things up as you go, which does make them hotter when they're charging. You got to keep a fan on them. They will overheat. The Netgear M5 and M1 will both overheat if you're charging it while you're using it. So it's either got to have a fan right on it or just don't do that, right? Or daisy chain them or something. But if you want to temporarily swap out the batteries, if you want more than 10 hours on each one of these, like your range is going to be longer than that, you can actually buy a couple of these and wrap them up, and you can pre-charge them and you can take them in your pack. It's much lighter. And then you can get yourself maybe 20, maybe if you do 3, you could get maybe 30 hours out of your modems just by carrying those extra batteries with you. And you can put those batteries in, and you can have one of them still serving up, streaming from the one, and then swap out the battery on the other one. If you want to get fancy, you can even plug it in while it's still on, swap the battery out, and then unplug it, which I've done before. So that keeps your two battery, having one modem as one point of failure is a bad idea anyway. So I would always at least have two modems. So it's even better that they're the same modem. So if they're the same modem, then their quirks and stuff, how they work and everything. You don't have to deal. I have two different Inseego modems, and one of them has a button on the top, and that's such a small thing, but it's such a big thing. I can't tell you how many times I've accidentally leaned it against something wrong and had it turn itself off because the button was on the top, which is a totally stupid design, by the way. And it tends to overheat more than the other ones. It's more finicky than the other Inseego. And then the Nighthawk, the Nighthawk's just like busting along, no problem. In fact, the only time I ever had problems with overheating or running out of power, I literally taped it to an ancient Anchor power bank that I have, and I USB modem that thing in, and that thing will run. It's like it will run. I did like 3 streams without even recharging the battery. So if that's your thing, if you got enough room, you can always do that, right? If you do that, by the way, do make sure that you really, really strap it down, because if you even touch the power source at all while the battery's not inside of it, sure it won't overheat, and that's why I did it. I did it because it was overheating a lot during the July months, and so I said, "Ah, screw it." So I just typed it on, and I put the thing. I didn't have a fan at the time on it, and then I did the normal thing, which is powering it through USB, which you can't do if you're tethering, unless you're using Ethernet. So I used the Ethernet, and I used the Wi-Fi dongle, either one, and then I bandaged that up, and I was able to go all through the summer, really hot months, and it didn't even blink. And I put all of my fan power on the two Insigos, which I could not do that with. Another reason not to get those stupid Insigo modems is they cannot be charged, and also, I'm sorry, they can't. One of them, the new one, it's one of them can be, and the other one can't be. The newest one, the newest Verizon modem, cannot be charged. When you plug it in, it immediately disconnects itself, turns itself off. It's maybe a setting I can change. I don't know. It's just so annoying having to deal with all these different modems and all the different quirks, especially when the Insigo modems aren't even as powerful as the M5 or the M1. So, just in my opinion, stay with what works. And the Nighthawk Nighthawks have been overwhelmingly confirmed to work all over the place in America. If you're a Japanese streamer or you're somebody like that, forget it. You can't even use them, which is really too bad. In fact, I've heard, I was actually listening to a Japanese streamer who's really good. He's one of the persons who's been playing around with the Orange Pi as a biker, and he's really upset that they made it illegal to use the M5, the Nike or Nighthawk. He's like, "Oh my gosh, that makes me so." You have to buy like a state-sponsored modem from Japan, and as soon as I saw that, I was like, my any inclination to stream in Japan just went right out the window. I was like, people got Japan covered. There's like a lot of streamers there. There's not very many streamers in America. I mean, they're all conglomerated in like New York or, a couple other places. But if you're going to stream in America, thank God we can still use the, Nighthawk, the Nighthawk Nighthawk, rah, America. So that's what we're going to do. And that's really all I have to say there. This video, I'm going off about other things, and I kind of want to stop. I'm kind of interested to see if the M6 is. I can't imagine the M6 not having all those things, but I don't have the spec sheet. You can go to the Netgear website, and there is a spec sheet there. The link to that is here on this blog page. 4K, U.S. model doesn't appear to support 5G used outside of North America. So it would function as a 4G hotspot overseas. Netgear is also offering an international model that supports a different set of 5G bands. As I said, if you get a hold of that model, it would work fine if you get a hold of that model, it would work fine on Verizon and AT&T, but won't support T-Mobile's 5G bands. Interesting. Did not know that. Netgear says the hotspot works best with AT&T. T-Mobile. Verizon doesn't want to give its official blessing. That doesn't have an ultra-wideband millimeter wave technology. But the M5s, this is because the ultra-wideband, this is an M5 technology, which is really stupid that they would not support it. But the M5 support of C-band 5G means it will get Verizon ultra-wideband speed in the future. So there you go, in black and white. If you want to use this hotspot of Verizon, though, you need to be a little sneaky. Yeah, you have to actually buy a device, a cheap-ass device, and swap out the card. AT&T's national 5G. Blah blah blah. And the Wi-Fi range is 50 feet. Samsung Ultra Galaxy. That's just M21. I have this exact modem. The X25 is less power efficient when you use X60, which maybe contribute to the hotspot social stamina. With the same modem has similar battery life. That's the Insigo 2100 is kind of close to that. I have this modem. This is my favorite of the Verizon modems. I wish they hadn't gone for the new one, the 3100. The 3100 is crap. I mean, it works, but I like this one better than the 3100. Let's see. The plans are good. A real stand-up, the ZTE. Let me see. I'm trying to find the link. Flexible 5G currently available. Yes. There we go. The bottom line, it isn't perfect, but the Netgear Nighthawk M5 is by far the most powerful and flexible 5G mobile hotspot currently available in the U.S., period. And it's super popular. I'm trying to find the PDF. I want to say that I linked to it from here, but I can't remember. I found. Maybe I'm remembering wrong. C-band. Nope, that's not it. $329. See how we tested thousands of products. Hotspot mode. Nope. 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 Best mobile hotspots. Oh, I don't see where it is. Oh, it must be here. Proceed. Danger, Will Robinson. There is a learn more. Yeah, here we go. T-Mobile notify your T-Mobile SIM card. Netgear mobile hotspot. 5200, 61. Oh god, there's several 600s now. I didn't know that. Or 6000. Where is the PDF? Where is the PDF? How do I set the access point VPN? God, I can't find it now. There's the I could probably just do a search for it. T-Mobile SIM card found, yes. Support. Downloads. M5. Nope. ProSafe. No, that's not it. Product issue. M5. M5 ProSafe. No. God, look at all the stuff they have. I should probably say Nighthawk, huh? Nighthawk. The Nighthawk Wi-Fi. The Nighthawk. No. Nighthawk. Is it gonna? If I put M5 here, is it gonna do it? Oh, look at that. Look at that. It's exactly what I want. Okay, here it is. Product data sheet. This is it. Okay, so sorry for the flash bangy kindness. This is the thing, the gospel truth. And this is where I first saw, I just saw it again in the review, but this is where it shows the specification. So this is where I first read it. So LTE band 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 12, and 13. B13 is specifically listed as being required by Verizon and is not on the M1. And that's where I originally saw. I didn't see, oh, look, it's got 3G support. It doesn't say that anywhere else. That's good to see. Capable of supporting N5, N22, N66, N71, 78. And these are future bands that are being developed at the moment, which is another reason you're investing in your future. If you're going to pay that money, you might as well keep it on a device. Assuming you take care of it, it's going to be around for a very long time. It's the best investment. And I assume, I mean, this is the opportunity for us to go look at the M6 really quick. I didn't do that before. I want to do the M6. Because the M6 is their new one, right? And you might not be able to get an M5 because they're not making new ones anymore. They do have an M6 router for AT&T specifically. They have an M6 router for generic APAC services. Oh, this is not like mobile hotspot. Nighthawk M6 mobile hotspot M6150. I have a feeling this is the one that we want because it's got the most things unlocked. Pro mobile router for AT&T only. I would never buy a hotspot that's just for a specific provider. I would never do that again. I think that's a waste. Okay, so this dropped 3G support. All right, that's interesting. Another reason to keep M5, because if you go to, abroad, that the 3G support might actually come in handy. This has got that 5G sub 6, which has now been established. It looks like N71, the 4G LTE, B12, 13, 14, all the Bs up to 71, which again is the T-Mobile band. That's the T-Mobile band, which is not in the M1. So according to this, the M6 has all of the same bands as the M5, except for the unexpected 3G bands, which we saw in the M5. So again, if you can get an M5, man, I think it would be worth looking for. This has also got some other 5G specifications. So I don't know about that. 4G LTE Cat 19. I don't even know what that is either. Up to 3600 kilobits max throughput. That's totally fine. That's Wi-Fi 6. Um, yeah, same dimensions, same Ethernet outside of that. Um, same dimensions and everything. This is the gold standard. And again, I'm going to say that the 5G is actually better than the 6, or the M5 is better than the 6 because it also has the USB. The I might even be able to use my M5 in an area where I've got really low coverage, like with 3G. So there's no places like that in the United States anymore. I don't think there's any place that you can do 3G in the United States. Can I get mobile 3G in US? I absolutely know you can't get it on AT&T because the way they were making jokes about it was a big fiasco. All major shut down legacy by in 2022. Did you see this? So having 3G support in the United States is useless. All major networks shut down 3G support in 2022, which was last year. So forget it. Okay. They're recycling those bands, by the way, for all the 5 stuff. And that's why they shut them down so they can redo it. But if you're planning on doing some international streaming abroad remotely, either buy another modem for that, or which you're probably going to have to do anyway. I mean, depending on where you go, the fact that you have to have a specific modem that works in a country that's allowed, which is I've never heard that before, but now that Asia, and specifically Japan, is requiring modems to certify on their home their network, and you're breaking the law if you use anything that doesn't. And they will find you. By the way, somebody was talking about that in that other stream. So, you need to look at where you're going to go to do your streaming. But one of the reasons that I am doing so much YouTubing about this, and I'm going to write a guide and do the Udemy course on outdoor IRL in America, is because America has very, very specific needs that Europeans can't even begin to comprehend because they have not lived in a country where one city is 60 miles from another city. I mean, that's I know I'm overstating it. I'm sorry, but the point is that most of America is so radically different depending on where you are, and the providers are different. It's like living in an area that's got multiple countries, right? And there are the laws that govern those things, and the different providers that are using different bands on different towers, blah blah blah. And so I think that it's really clear the M5 is actually the M5 and the M6. Now that we know that 3G has been completely shut down, the extra 3G capabilities in my M5. The truth is, if you're going to a country that needs 3G support or still supports 3G, you're probably going to a country that's pretty, frankly, technology-wise, is pretty backward. Because if it's still supporting 3G, it's got to be very, very rural. And the fact that you have 3G support is probably going to be fine in your M5, but you'd be giving up all the new cool 5G optimization that's coming around. And frankly, eventually all these towers are going to be mostly 5G traffic. So it's worth considering. I mean, the advice to lock down to 4G is not a thing anymore. I don't think. Now, as long as you have 2 modems and they're bouncing back and forth, I think it's more important to boost your signal than it is to do that. So, anyway, that's pretty much it for this video. I hope that this has saved some people some amount of headache. There was some debate about whether the Nighthawk, line supported Verizon, and I think we have very definitive proof. On paper anyway, that including PC Mag saying it works with Verizon straight up, and the Netgear organization saying on their webpage, yes, we support Verizon, but this is what you have to do. Verizon will never say it supports it, right? Because Verizon is trying to sell you modems and they have different criteria, but it obviously works according to 2 different authorities that we cited. And the only other way to get even further definitive proof is for me to run it on Verizon for a month or more, which I just ordered one. It'll be here in 3 days, and I'm going to do that. So stay tuned if you want to get more feedback on that kind of input. I'm going to go ahead and read some comments here, and while we're still on stream, and then we'll come back to it. How fast is your 5G connection? That really depends on what you mean by fast. Guy in Tobacco, yes. You're on early. Good morning. Dobry Jane. Dobry Jane crude biomass. Nighthawk M1 spies. They sell data to China. I don't know if that's. Does the Nighthawk M5 spy? Do they all spy? None of the major U.S. carriers support 3G anymore. Yes, that's what I just read too. Artivix say hi. Hey, Tomato. So nothing really groundbreaking in terms of comments today. So the long and short of this is buy an M5 if you can because they're cheaper and they cover everything you need. Buy an M6 if you can't get hold of an M5. And I guarantee you, if you do a research for that, you're gonna get conflicting opinions, particularly on the Rational IRL Discord. I no longer go. I mean, I really appreciate Rational IRL. And yesterday I was saying this on the stream. I want to like send them like a big, gift of some kind because Bellabox has enabled me to stream from the biking trails and mountain bikes and trails of America, which I've been cloistered to my little range, and now that we have we tried the reach boost, and we have the Bella box, I am now able to. I couldn't do it without the Bella box, obviously with the bonding, and I'm able to actually go. Yesterday, for the first time ever, I was able to hike around in the outback. I mean, like in areas in a place that I literally cried about last year, 2 years ago, because I invested all this money and everything to be able to do that, and I couldn't do it because I didn't have the signal. So the booster got me that, and frankly, the Netgear, the Nighthawk and the Netgear, which are the standard, got me that. And so, hearing at the time that I could not, I was like, man, it would be so great if I could. I mean, we're sitting there watching the Verizon modems not keep up with the Nighthawk. Which if you're watching that on the Bella box as you're monitoring it, the Bella box algorithm, I believe, I don't know, but I believe it detects where it's getting, more success, and it kind of weights it more. And the bad thing about that is the AT&T is also my most expensive bandwidth. So it started giving AT&T all my bandwidth. It also has overage charges, which is another reason to get off AT&T. So I'll do a whole video on that. But the way to do AT&T is to do pay as you go. And then, so you're not ever paying overage, which I'm going to switch back to. Because I was, by the way, short summary, I was sold a lie at the AT&T store. The AT&T, I switched from pay as you go, like 100 gigabytes at a time. I switched from that to their quote unlimited plan, and I ended up paying $420 in overages. And then they said, "Oh no, that's never been available." And then I went back in, and so I don't want anything to do with the AT&T company. Unfortunately, AT&T is the biggest provider of rural connectivity to America. Verizon's the second biggest, obviously. Verizon caters more to the urban areas, and so having both providers is essential in America. And if you want to add another provider, there's Visible, and there's a bunch of others that people are trying out. But you can't test different providers unless you have a modem that'll support it. And now we know that the M5 and the M6 are the only modems in America that will potentially support any one of these providers. So those are the modems to buy. You buy two of them. If you don't like AT&T, swap it out. So I'll be swapping back to the 100 gigabits thing, and as fast as I can, seeking a replacement for AT&T. I absolutely hate them. They've had the best coverage, but I'm not sure if it's because of the coverage or it's because of the modem, which we're going to find out this week or this month, because I am going to be getting the M5, exactly the same modem, like identical modem for Verizon, and swapping out the SIM card. And then I'll have one for AT&T, and then we'll really be able to tell, because we'll have two modems that are splitting the bandwidth across both of them. And if indeed the algorithm favors the one that's doing the best, we will be able to visually see at regular intervals which provider is winning and where. So I wish I could track all that data. That's the only thing that I wish that Bellabox would do, is it would provide real-time logs that keep track of all the bandwidth signals and the amount of bandwidth that's being spent. That's one of my. If I had access to the source code, that's the first thing I would add, because then I could actually track how much bandwidth I'm using per time, and I could correlate it with the GPS based on a timestamp, and I could find out where I could actually have live data showing where I'm getting the performance and where I'm getting my f-spots and all of that jazz. I do believe that will eventually happen. It will eventually be added. There's enough people that want that, but that's for those of us who do regular routes and are tired of going through those F spots, would be able to identify where those F spots are without depending on crowdsourced, cell phone data, which has no bearing on what I want to see, because I want to see where the F spots and the low bit rates are with my modem, not with some random person's shitty phone. So I hope that that eventually does be a thing. I'm hoping to add that myself. Anyway, so I'm really excited, and I'm saying a bunch of things here. I told you the main stuff was at the beginning of the video, my conclusions, and now I've shown you where you can go to get your own confirmation of these things. There's absolutely nothing better than buying it and testing it. Unfortunately, in order to test the Verizon option for the M5 or 6, you have to buy a Verizon account, which is truly unlimited, by the way. So if you get a Verizon account, the 100 gigabyte Verizon account is only $40 a month. The AT&T 100 gigabytes that gives you overages after that is $100. So it's double the cost, more than double the cost to do the AT&T one, and you get overage charges. The Verizon one is $50. I'm sorry, $40 or $50 for 100. It might be that I can't remember if they changed the prices, but it's 100 gigabytes, right? And after your 100 gigabytes is burned up, then it gives you a trickle, right? Now I don't know how much the trickle is. I'll do another video on that. I'm pretty sure it's 500. It's 500 kilobits per second though, and normally 500 kilobits per second would give you phone service, right? But you wouldn't be able to stream or anything on it. But if you are bonding that with another 500 one, that's 1,000 and over, actually 800 and over, but 1,000 is clean. 1,000, I like to, my number is 1,200. 1,200 kilobits per second minimum, right? So 1,200 kilobits per second, total, like combined modem, bonded modems, is a good stream. I mean, that's a good stream if you're slow moving and you're not going really fast or something like that. But if you have the booster on, obviously I prefer to stream at 6,000 no matter what. Yes, it burns up more bandwidth, but especially outdoor IRL streaming where you have a lot of detail on the leaves and stuff like that, not streaming, streaming anything less than 4,000 kilobits per second with a lot of foliage and stuff like that and moving fast is going to definitely have a lot of distortion, and it's not as pretty. If you see bike streamers and there's a bunch of like blobs of gravel that just kind of materialize before your eyes, that's because they're not streaming at 6,000 kilobits per second. They're streaming at something less than that, like 3,000 or something. And some people will say that you should turn down 3 frames per second. Not if you're biking. You need to keep it at 60 frames a second, and you need to bump up your kilobits per second. In my experience, I might have some of that wrong, but that's what it appears to me. So hey, how's it going, Ray? So I'm super excited about this because if this works, I'm going to be able to drop one of my Verizon accounts, which is going to save me $40-50 a month. Right now, the way I have Verizon is I have one that has 100 and then another that's only got 40. And the idea was supposed to be that the 100 would be the main one, and then the other one would kind of kick in when it was needed, and I would keep turning it on and off. But I never do that. And by the way, the Bella box, we found this out yesterday. Turning on and off a Wi-Fi source or any network source can cause the Bella box to get out of sync and screw up. It's a bug. It's a pretty obscure bug in the Bella box, so I'm not going to complain about it a lot. But yesterday we've seen this again. I've seen it over and over again, where you go through the thing and you tap on the buttons to control which Wi-Fi sources. The most common use of this is like when I'm at home. I'll turn off everything except for my local Wi-Fi, and then I'll stream for free, basically, right? And it just costs me battery power. And I can turn it off, and that usually doesn't cause a problem. But yesterday, I don't know if it's because if it's in an area that's challenged with regard to signal quality or something, but yesterday just do a test. I turned off the AT&T modem and left the 2 Verizon modems on, and when I did it, it immediately put my stuff out of sync. It couldn't catch up, probably because there was some buffering going on. There was a bunch of stuff going to AT&T, and it probably had to buffer, and then it also had to renegotiate what was this is something about Bell Box I've always not liked is, it has to go. Another one has to become the new one to provide the remote and stuff like that. And I know you can log into it currently on the local network, but then you can't turn the network off. so so I'm actually going to try some new things there. I'm going to start to connect directly to the local Wi-Fi of my Bella box, and then have. But the problem is you still don't ever know which is the primary network for your Bella box. So if you're disabling Ethernet and stuff like that, and you disable like the AT&T stuff, and that thing is also providing the wireless connection for, you don't want to have your monitor tied to that, right? But sometimes you have to tie. So it's complicated. Bottom line is, if you toggle on and off those little check boxes for your Ethernet stuff, you can be almost sure that eventually you're going to have to reboot your Bella box in order to get it to work right. So don't do it. So don't do it. I mean, other than, it's first of all, it's not an adequate listing of, whether it's going to pull its weight or not, which is always the reason I do it, right? I found that if you just turn one of them off and watch it and see if the other one's kick up a notch, like yesterday I did that, and the Verizon's went up to 500 or 600 while the AT&T was pushing 5,000, and then both of the Verizons never got above 500, and I was like, well, why is that? And I assumed it was because of the signal. It could have been any number of things, but I assumed it was because of signal. And then I found that if I rebooted it and I disconnected the AT&T thing, that the Verizon things would work even better, and that means that it has to be something related to Bella box and its negotiation, or something about its algorithm. And I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just telling you what I'm observing, okay? And I'm not claiming to be an expert on any of that stuff. I'm just telling you my observations. I am we have the theoretical physicists, who make up the stuff, and then we have the practical physicists who are out there, breaking shit like me and reporting. So that's what I'm reporting. What I'm reporting to you is that my success has been overwhelmingly better with the 5G. With the Nighthawk Nectar. That's the main thing for this video. Yeah, and yeah. So those are some of the weird things. So and just to summarize again, my current target rig, and I'm going to draw a picture of this, is a Bella box with the metal nano, a specific metal case, the number one recommended case, not the one I was using before, that has a lockdown seated thing for the SD card so it doesn't bounce around. The DJ Action 4 toggled as a webcam with stabilization using USB-C on the fast port, and then two Wi-Fi dongles, 2.4 and 5, with blinky lights in the two USB ports, the remaining two USB ports, and two Netgear M5 modems, hotspots that are, one of which is optionally connected with Ethernet to the Bella box, but can also be connected through Wi-Fi, and the other one only being connected through Wi-Fi, through the Wi-Fi, completely untethered, and then one 30,000 milliamp battery to charge the whole thing. That is my target rig, and then I have the option of adding the reach boost when on my frame pack when needed, so I can carry the antenna with me. That is the current rig I'm working on. So if you stayed for the end, hopefully that's going to be a help to you. And again, I'll be writing all this up. It is 10 o'clock, so I have to get ready. We're going to have the beginner boost at 11 o'clock. So I'm going to freshen up and everything. We're going to go ahead and raid somebody right now. Hey, Van. So we're going to go ahead and raid. We're going to go ahead and raid an outdoor IRL streamer or somebody in science and tech, either way, while I'm getting ready for the other stuff. I could just keep streaming, but I kind of want to just make a nice clean break here. Overwatch. Mikey's playing Overwatch. Nice. Who do we got? Anybody in outdoor? I've been really looking for the guy who taught me. Most of the streams that the tips that I've been getting have been coming from watching other people. So I didn't even know about the booster until I watched another outdoor IRL streamer, which I have not been able to find since then. I have not seen them stream since that time, and I keep looking for them. I've been trying to find them. He's a great streamer. Wow, Bikini Girl. Cozy Sunday. I know. I'm gonna look around for some people here. Um, what the hell is that? They're out in the wild. Lots of fun streamers here. Okay. We're gonna do biking later tonight. Here's the calendar just so you can see. It's a pretty full day today. So we're doing beginner boost starting tech job week 19. We're gonna do learn and go after that. Very very tiring day, and we're gonna go biking after that. So tonight's bike trip is gonna be very very casual, and I'm gonna be wearing the new rig, and we're gonna go bike, and we're gonna test the F spots with the new boosted rig. That is the only goal for today, is to get to that F spot and get home and watch the sunset. That is it. So if you want to tune back in for that, we welcome. If you're not an outdoor person and you want the tech stuff, that's going to be this afternoon in an hour. So let's see if we can stress somebody else we can raid. I do like raiding people. We don't have a lot of people here today, but might as well go ahead and raid. Draft racing, by the way, we will be doing draft racing on the next time. Oh, cycling. Who is this? I don't know who this is. We're going to raid them. Oh my God, my ears. My ears are hurting. All right, I don't know who this person is. So I've been meeting a lot of new people in this category, so this will be fun. Are you putting the ghost streams on YouTube? Absolutely, always do.
Yes, we can.
Yep. This is funny. It's only got 3 viewers, so this will be really fun. Please make sure you're really loud and you say hi and encourage them and all that good stuff. Please do that for me, okay? Can you help me out there and make them feel really awesome? Because it takes a lot of energy to IRL stream on the bike. So please support your local or your remote streamer on the bike. See you in an hour. Bye.
But Rotten is not that bad. Rotten only takes 2 dark fogs.